Hi, I'm Judy Cole, the Executive Vice President and CEO of the MIT Alumni Association, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this web production of the MIT Alumni Association.
Thank you, Judy, for the introduction, and thank you, Judy, also and her team for organizing this weekend of alumni events. And thank you, all of you, for being with us today and for being with us this weekend. It's really very meaningful, and I say that sincerely. It's very meaningful to me, to us at MIT, to see alumni come back and to stay connected and to see what we're doing and to want to celebrate with each other. Because these days are really to celebrate you. It's probably, I shouldn't say probably, it is the most fun weekend at MIT. After commencement, we celebrate our new graduates, and then we spend time with all of you, and it's just really the best environment, the best weekend we have in this place. In fact, Judy was commenting about moving day. We did have the launch of the campaign a few weeks ago, and the day after we had moving day. And the evening of moving day, when we just had boats and all sort of gadgets crossing the river and the bridge from Boston to Cambridge, we ended up with a pageant, but we ended up after that with a party and people dancing. We had like 7,000 people dancing in 3-4 venues at MIT. And the students loved it, absolutely loved it. And in emails that they sent me in conversations, I asked them, and they said that what they loved so much about the pageant, and particularly the dancing, is that the alumni came back. And they were dancing on the floor, not just with each other, but with professors, administrators, and alumni. And that was meaningful to them. And I understand that, because I'm just thrilled to see you back every year, and I very much appreciate it. Judy mentioned a campaign for a better world. I mean, in thinking of what to tell you today, I just thought that I have to focus my few minutes on that, because we just started it, we just launched it. As you know, typically campaigns last about 4 or 5 years after they get launched. So we are on our way. And I thought I should spend a few minutes about that, because as Judy said, this is a different kind of campaign. And because it is different, it seems to be very well received. And by that I mean not just by alumni, but by unaffiliated too. Because as Judy said, this is not a campaign for. Typical campaigns are a campaign for University X. This is not a campaign for MIT. It's a campaign from MIT. It's a campaign for the world. It's a campaign to make a better world. And the bottom line there is that it's a campaign with a purpose. And the purpose are the themes. And as Judy said, we have 2 of those this morning. And I want to just go through those very quickly to give you a sense of what we're trying to do here, and hopefully to recruit you on a little goal that I have at the end of my little presentation. What are those themes of the campaign for, MIT campaign for a better world? Judy mentioned education. That's the first topic of this morning. Learning is something that, as educators, we have been doing that for hundreds of years, at MIT for 150 years, and we still don't know exactly how learning happens. And you're going to hear from really a dream team of faculty and students telling you our plans to understand how learning occurs so we can do a better job. And the opportunity that we have right now is that we do believe that the learning by doing, the mind and hand approach of MIT is the best way to go. But now we have additional tools, digital tools that can help us. And how we combine all that to learn about learning is a great opportunity. You'll hear more about them. Then we have the health of the planet. Judy mentioned that. That's the second half of the morning. There is so much to do there. There is the issue of climate change. There is the issue of clean energy, of course, related to climate change. There is the issue of clean water and food. That's a huge issue, fresh water. It's a huge issue. In America, we pay less attention to it as we need globally. And as you may hear this morning, we do have fresh water for 7 billion people, which is the population of the planet today. It's poorly distributed. It's like oil. It's abundant in some places and absent almost everywhere else. But we do have enough for the planet. But we're growing. The population is growing. And when we become 8 or 9 billion people, we're going to have a very serious problem. And those problems already exist. So it's an issue that we have to pay attention to. And I have to stop here because I gotta tell you, I have quite a few people asking me yesterday, not critically, but asking me, why did I invite Mike Damon to give the commencement speech? And maybe some of you are still wondering, why did I do that? It's a strange choice. Well, so let me tell you just very quickly, just in case that's in your minds, because it's in the minds of a lot of alumni yesterday afternoon. Goodwill Hunting is, I can give you 5 powerful reasons and tell you the final reason at the end. Goodwill Hunting is part of it. The fact that he grew up a few blocks from here is part of it. The fact that he participated in The Martian, the movie, which is, some people mention that movie as equivalent to a love letter for science, is part of it. The fact that he, normally I get a list of maybe 10 or so potential commencement speakers by students that they want me to invite, and he was on that list. That's part of it. The most important, however, is that he founded about 6 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago or so, water.org, which is a foundation to actually address the water problem. So we have in complete synergy there, him trying to do it from the foundation standpoint, and we're trying to figure out how to address the issue of technology, science, and policy for the water issue. All those are powerful reasons, but the real reason I invited him is because my wife asked me to. So, it's true. So those are the 2 topics of the morning. There is human health, and there is so much to do there. Why do we have to detect diseases when they already occur, when the symptoms are there? Why can't we detect them earlier, when they start occurring, when they are not materially present? It is possible. We're working on that. And I think that's something that we need to do, not just for our well-being, but in terms of healthcare costs. Just address diseases as they begin to occur, not when they already manifest themselves. If we can do that, and I'm telling you, it is possible, people are working on that at MIT, what are the right therapies if you have early detection? Because the therapies we have today is to apply brute force when we realize something bad happened. But the therapies will be completely different if you identify, you have a very early detection of diseases to occur. That's another complete new domain. And then, how about the aging mind, disorders of the aging mind? As you all know, luckily for all of us, we're growing older, which is a good thing. But as we grow older, then we have disorders of the aging mind addressing us. And if we don't address those, then what's the point of doing all this research for us to be able to have healthier and older life? So the issue of Alzheimer's, the issues of all those disorders, we have to understand them. And that is another area in which we literally know nothing about. We have people here working on all those areas. And the beauty of how it happens at MIT, the beauty of why it's worth doing that here is because the ideas that happen here move to the marketplace, move across the street, and have impact in society fairly quickly. So that is why we think that's another area in which we can make a big difference. Innovation is another area of emphasis for us. Why? Because, as I said, I see every day at MIT, I see the future. I see what's happening here that is going to move to the marketplace. It's going to move to society. I see that. But some of those are taking too long. The system that we have in place for innovation in this country, which is the most innovative nation in the world, is a system that facilitates the move from idea to impact on things which do not require capital investment or major development efforts. Basically, we have a great system to move from idea to market to impact things like Uber and Airbnb and so forth, which are things which are important to all of us. But it does not facilitate the idea, the movement, the speed of moving from idea to impact on all the things that can improve the health of the planet or improve human health, to give you just 2 examples. So that area is of importance to us, and we're moving on that right as well. In fact, we're building a whole laboratory, a whole leading laboratory of how to move innovation from idea to impact right here in the corridor of MIT and Tech Square. Of course, we have to support fundamental research. That's an important theme of us. There are people, and goodness gracious, I spend about 1 day a week or so in DC, and I've been doing that for the last 4 years. And the sense there is that we basically know everything there is to know. All we have to do is figure out how to apply it. But the knowledge is here. We know it all. The idea is we don't have to get more knowledge. We got it. Yes, of course, there is a lot of knowledge that we still need to milk and come up with how to implement and use it. That is absolutely true. But knowledge, to me, just think of it of a balloon of air, but it's a balloon of knowledge. Think of it as the balloon of knowledge, and think of it that everything inside the balloon is knowledge, everything outside is what we don't know. And what we realize that we don't know is the surface of the balloon. So the more we know, the more we realize we don't know, and the more there is to know. And that is really knowledge. We basically know much less of anything compared to what we know. So how do you explain that to Congress? And you know what? And what they tell me, they tell me is, and I'm very serious about it. This is being recorded, right? I just let me be a little more careful. What they're telling me is, at the end of conversations, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. You're right. I see your point. But my voters don't see it. So why don't you go and tell the public that that's the case so that they can vote for that? Because if they don't vote for that, I'm not going to vote for that. So they put the blame on the voters, not on the leadership. Whatever it is an issue, and we have to work not just on doing the fundamental research and getting the funds for fundamental research so the balloon of knowledge keeps growing and we can keep applying it, but we also have to work with the general public and Congress to explain about the importance of fundamental research. And then we have core needs. What are core needs? Well, financial aid for undergraduates, fellowship for graduate students, startup package for faculty, basically what allows us to attract talent to MIT. So let me tell you why I emphasize that. And no institution, MIT is not an exception. MIT is about talent, it's about people. It's just about people. We are extremely fortunate because the smartest two-legged creatures on earth want to come to MIT. And we succeed at attracting them because they want to be here. But the truth is that I would like every person that we choose to bring here to come here. And every person we choose to be here wants to come here, but not all of them come. We yield very well among undergraduates. I yield for this coming class is 74%, so we're doing quite well. But my point is the following. There are some students who are admitted to MIT, who get financial aid from MIT, but our financial aid is just not as good as other places because our socioeconomic situation among our undergraduates is such that our need-blind admissions process has a distribution of students that are on the lower side of the socioeconomic landscape. So to give you a sense, about 90% of our undergraduates do not pay for tuition. They don't have the ability to pay for tuition. But that's the beauty of MIT. That's why MIT is what it is, because it attracts the very best people, regardless of their ability to pay. However, we have done some studies and learned that even though our financial aid is worse than our peers, because we don't have the money to cover all these students, if the financial aid we offer is less than $10,000 a year, what another institution offers, they still come here. But if our financial aid is worth more than $10,000 than another institution, the kids still want to come here. But the parents say, why? Why? Go somewhere else. This is just a better package. So we lose some superstars that want to be here because our financial aid package is not as good, as generous, or because our fellowship package is not as generous, or because in some cases of faculty, our startup package is not as generous. As I said, it's not a crisis at all. We yield very well with grad students. With grad students, I think we yield about 2/3, 60-some%. Undergrads, as I said, is 74%. Faculty, we almost get everybody we want. But an argument that I've heard when I say things like this is, but why do you want everybody? Isn't it okay for other institutions to get these people too? Of course it's okay. But the bottom line is that they would do much better in life if they come to MIT. And I have the facts to support it. I mean, which place can claim that their graduates have produced 85, the graduates, MIT graduates have been received 85 Nobel laureates, which is like 12, 13% of the total Nobel laureates that started in 1901 or something like that. And which institution can claim not only that, but the graduates have started more than 30,000 companies, producing annual revenues of close to $2 trillion a year, which, by the way, if it were a nation, it would be the 10th largest economy in the world, right in between India and Russia. So my point is, if you come here, you can be one of those people. And you, even though we don't yield 100%, you don't see any other institution having those numbers. So that's what I say, that if you come here, society benefits and individual benefits. To end, I honestly, because I see the work at MIT every day, I see a future. I see a future in which we can address the climate change. I see a future in which we can address and have very ubiquitous use of clean energy. I see a future where we can address and solve the issue of fresh water and food. I see a future where we can detect diseases before the symptoms appear. I see that. I see it here in the labs. It's happening. I see that we can come up with a cancer that is controlled, and we can come up with a solution for Alzheimer's. One of my colleagues, in some spectacular research she's doing, she already found something that now she's moving it into a little company right across the street from MIT. I see the future here, but we need to move a little bit faster, particularly those working on aging diseases. I'm telling them, I'm getting older, hurry up. So I see that future, but for us to get that future, we need support. So that's what the campaign is for about. It's not a campaign for MIT, it's a campaign for a better world, it's a campaign for a better future. So what's the challenge? What's my dream here? Of course, I want to achieve our goal. Our goal is $5 billion, and of course I want to get us there. We are a little over half of that goal already on the silent phase. But you know what I would love to see? What I really would love to see are MIT alumni, a large fraction of the MIT alumni supporting the campaign. Just imagine if we can claim 100% of alumni supporting, probably impossible, but a large fraction. And I'm talking about participation rate. I'm talking about everybody believing on MIT's mission and goal and giving us some money, $100, whatever they can do, to show the world that the MIT people believe in MIT. That's the goal, that's the challenge that I would like us. How to reach that, I'm challenging Judy, I'm challenging all of you. Help me get to people to help us. And when I say things like that, and people say, but $100, you know, you need $5 billion. What would my $100 gonna do? Well, think of it for a moment. 130,000 alumni, $100 each, that's $13 million. That will give us an endowment that can produce about $600,000 a year. That can make a difference for many of these kids who are not coming to MIT today. So the challenge is just help me reach that dream of a very high alumni participation rate. I'm preaching to the believers because you do that, but I need 130,000 people participating. Thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for being here this weekend. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us. For more information on future MIT Alumni Association productions, please visit our website.